Hello, everyone, and welcome to another NinjaOne webinar. My name is Jeff Hunter. I am the field CTO here at NinjaOne. And today we're doing a little discussion of a single pane of glass within NinjaOne, breaking down the silos, the different portals that you have to be logged into all the time. But first, a brief bit of housekeeping before we kick things off. First of all, this session is being recorded, so this will be emailed out to everybody who is attending today. You had to sign up with your email, so we'll go ahead and shoot that link over to you. It will also be posted on YouTube, so if you'd prefer to just subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll see the post whenever it is uploaded there. We also have some other webinars that we've done previously on the YouTube channel in case you wanted to go and review. We also post the webinars we do for our Discord community. We live stream them on YouTube. Did an interesting one on analyzing patching data for anybody who is interested in maybe diving deeper into the NinjaOne API. Another bit of housekeeping is that we do have a giveaway today. That'll be at the very end of the webinar, so stick around for that. We've got something to give away. You do not need to do anything additional for that. Simply by virtue of being here and registering, you are entered in the drawing. So nothing else you need to do. And I think that is it from a housekeeping perspective. So we'll go ahead and kick things off. As I said, our topic for today is really about the NinjaOne single pane of glass and the effectiveness and the efficiency that it gives you. And there's three particular items here that we'd like to focus on. One being, of course, speed. Now, before we dive too deep into this, I do want to talk about what is the benefit here of a single pane of glass. At a very surface level, we're talking about having everything inside of one particular portal. We log in and we're able to do all our various actions. And this makes us faster. This makes us more efficient with what we're trying to accomplish, which is managing endpoints and improving the overall workflow of the help desk. Now, to get started, I do have a poll question we would like to ask, which is how many portals are you using on a regular basis today? I know that I use quite a few. And I know that when I was managing devices more directly day to day, I had a lot of stuff to log into. So I'm very curious how many everyone's dealing with here. Looking at the live results, I'm seeing a lot are using between 3 and 4, 5 and 6. It's kind of neck and neck between those two, but there's a sizable contingent here that's using 7+ portals. Maybe I should have made that top end number a little bit higher here. And so obviously, the more portals you have to worry about, that is an impact to security. That's more portals, 7 portals, with some of us who are having to manage the security of those portals and make sure that everybody is rotating their passwords, maybe utilizing SSO for sign-on. So it is a bear to manage once you start to get that many portals in your overall workflow. And so being able to reduce the amount of portals you have to keep track of, having everything inside of a single pane of glass brings you what I think is a very clear benefit. You don't have to go to all these different portals. You can do it from right within one particular platform. Now, we can say that and it sounds great. However, I think that there are a few key factors that we want to evaluate first before we sort of go to whatever says they have the biggest single pane of glass. And you can see those 3 pieces of criteria right here. One is speed. The platform itself should not be a bottleneck. And that's one thing I really love about Ninja is the speed of use. We have the ability to run a script. We'll see that script execute. And then by the time we get a response back, we know immediately if that script has been successful or not. So I've certainly seen other platforms struggle in the past with platforms where you hit the execute button and you hurry up and wait. And that's not ideal. That's a situation where the platform itself is bottlenecking you, not necessarily providing the accelerating benefits that we really want to have in a single pane. Now, beyond just the speed, we want something that's going to be effective and is going to be reliable. I might term this ease of use, essentially the tool being built with the idea that a human being is actually going to utilize it. This is not just functionality that we are creating within a vacuum. We're going to be able to pick this up and use it maybe within the course of a few hours, maybe a day or two. And that's a pretty consistent refrain that I've heard from people who are using NinjaOne, which is that they can kind of pick it up and go. It's very easy to tell what is going where and where you need to go to do what. And finally, we want to focus on flexibility. Obviously, I can talk all day about the benefits of single pane of glass, but it's a fact of life that you're not going to be able to consolidate everything into a single portal. It's obviously ideal, I think, but it's not a reality, I think, for most people that you're having everything inside of one particular pane of glass to operate within. And so we want flexibility. We have to meet various challenges. We want a platform that is going to scale with us and be flexible with us so that we can bend and twist and mold to fit what our needs happen to be, not a tool that's incredibly rigid and we have to fit our workflows into it. And if we're not able to do that based off of business operation guidelines or protocols, we don't want to be in a tough spot there. We want something that is going to be able to be flexible with us. Now, right here, we can see maybe the baseline bedrock tenets of endpoint management: patch management, the ability to deploy software, monitoring and alerting, and scripting and automation. Now, there's more behind it that we'll talk about today that Ninja is able to deliver: remote access through Ninja Remote, the ability to back up your files, ensure that you can restore them whenever they're needed, the ability to handle your tickets and all the institutional knowledge tied to the devices that you're managing within the documentation, and of course, the ability to integrate with and deploy antivirus and EDR. We officially announced our CrowdStrike integration today, but we also integrate with SentinelOne, with Webroot, and with Bitdefender Gravity Zone. And we've seen pretty clear evidence that when people are switching to Ninja, that they are able to do more and they're able to do more faster, whether that comes from better ability to patch their devices, decreasing the amount of time spent on patching, reducing the amount of time spent on tickets just as a whole, or remote support. So pretty clear demonstrable benefits here. And we'll demonstrate some of them today. I promise this is the end of the PowerPoint. We have a couple of different scenarios we want to run through. One is an end-to-end request for a file using Ninja Backup. Somebody makes the request. How can we quickly and easily restore that file to the end user? Then we'll look at the alerts that generate our tickets. How can we do some self-remediation to try and resolve those issues before a human being has to necessarily get involved? We'll also talk about how our ticketing system and NinjaOne documentation is going to enhance your security posture, standardize the workflows of your help desk to make it more effective, storing that institutional knowledge tied to the devices that you're managing within NinjaOne documentation. And then at the very end, we'll talk a little bit about how you can expand the single pane, make the window bigger. I don't know, the metaphor is starting to break down here a little bit, but essentially being able to take your other portals that maybe don't integrate with Ninja and bring some of that data into Ninja so that you can give yourself greater visibility. And again, just overall make yourself a little bit more streamlined and effective when it comes to help desk operations. And with that, I will stop my share and we'll actually jump into the NinjaOne portal. All right, so now we're coming into the NinjaOne dashboard. This is an environment that I set up a few months ago to help do a speed run webinar of Ninja. So basically, how quickly could we go through a completely blank environment into a completely set up environment, or at least as much of the setup as I could do in about an hour on camera. And so you can kind of see the end results of this right here. I'm sort of cosplaying from my old movie theater days when I managed all the devices at a movie theater chain. So you can see some of those theaters right here, just VMs kind of giving an example. Now, over on the left-hand side, we'll see NinjaOne ticketing, all the various boards that we have here. And this is going to be our funnel for today. We're looking at all the tickets that we're receiving, and we're going to go through how we can address them right within Ninja Ticketing. So we'll go to all of our tickets. You'll see that we have 5 that are currently active here that need some form of being addressed. And we're going to start with the one here at the very bottom. Now, right now we're in the ticket editor here. We can see at the top that this is a critical file backup request. That was the subject line. And we can see over here in the body of the ticket, the exact nature of the request. We have Ethan Desmond right here, and he has made a request. Help, the Excel spreadsheet we use to track sales is broken and doesn't have anything inside of it. Can you send us the most recent backup? Now, there is a key factor here that we need to do or address before we can proceed further. which is what is the name of the file? We don't know where the file is located and we don't know the name of it. So how can we provide them what they want? We would need to know that already. And so let's go ahead and ask them. Let's go ahead and first create a requester. Right now, there's no point of contact here for us to address. And I'll go ahead and use this handy contact person that I've created for demonstration purposes here so that we can go ahead and correspond with them. So we'll go ahead and create that person as the requester. We'll go ahead and assign the ticket to myself. We can go ahead and prioritize this. This seems like this would be a fairly critical issue. So we'll say it's a high priority and a critical severity. And then we'll go ahead and create our response here. And so we'll say, hello, could you please provide the file name that you would like to be, well, if I could type, restored. We'll go ahead and publish that right there. Now, one other change we're going to make here is in the top left, we can see our various statuses. This was a brand new ticket that I was first taking and starting the response. But now that I've responded, we need to go ahead and change our status. And so in this particular case, I would say I am waiting on someone. We'll go ahead and change that into a waiting status right there. Go ahead and save that. And so we'll say we get a response back, just hypothetically, saying that this was required a file name of balance sheet. So let's go ahead and actually go into the device itself and see if we can find out where that file is located within Ninja Backup. So over here on the left-hand side, we can see a quick link to the device. We'll go ahead and hit that device right there. It'll take us to this machine. This is the device level. And we can go up to our tabs to take some action on the device. Perhaps we want to run a script. Perhaps we want to initiate a reboot, initiate patching cycles. We might also want to start a remote access session. We might also want to run a backup plan. However, the backup plan has already ran, so we have that within our system. We should have it within our system. And so I'll go to this backup tab right here, and I will manage our data. And this is going to show us our backup plan and what we've backed up to the cloud. So we'll click into that right there. Now I could go ahead and spelunk through all my files here, try to find what they're looking for, but all they've given me is a full file name to go off of. So I'll go ahead and try to find that right up here at the very top. We'll search for balance, and right there, we can see the balance sheet Excel file that we need to provide to our end users. And so I'll check the box for that particular file. Note here, I could absolutely do an entire folder if I wanted to, but in this particular case, the situation really only calls for the individual file being requested here. Now we have the option to delete this file. We have the option to download it to my machine, but that doesn't really do anybody else any good. I would like to restore this file to the same machine. That way they have the ability to access it. So I'll go ahead and restore here. Now, I can select the revision that I'd like to utilize, and we'll use the most recent and only option we have for today. I'll choose how I want to handle any file named conflicts. Now, this could be a bit of a tricky situation here. I might not necessarily want to overwrite the existing file on the device. It could be recovered in the future. This could be operator error here. So I might not necessarily want to restore to the same location and overwrite that existing file. So what we can do is restore to another device. Now we could restore to the exact same device if we wanted to. So this is my Demo 2 PC. I'm restoring to my Demo 2 instance, and I can select the specific folder where I'd like to go ahead and restore that file. But a great option about this, let's say this machine was non-operable. They came in the morning and the device just wasn't booting up, but they still had that critical file on that device and they need to get it in order to open for the day, in order to continue to operate. And so what we could do is restore not to the same device, but to another device in the same organization. Let's say we want to do device 20 here. And so we can go ahead and find a particular file. In this case, I might do just the C drive here, and I can go ahead and initiate that restore. Pretty small file, so this should go fairly quickly here. And you can see we're going from the backup that we had on Demo 2, and we're restoring that to our Demo 20 PC. We could also go ahead and restore this to the exact same device like so, and we can overwrite the current file on this PC if we knew for certain that it was corrupted. And so we can go ahead and kick off the restore job for this device as well. So now we've got that critical file in potentially 2 different locations. So now we think we've restored this file. We think it's present on the device, but we always want to confirm that we've actually taken the action that we expect. So we'll go up here to the very top and we'll kick off a Ninja remote connection. And so right there, we are inside of our NinjaOne device. We can go ahead and log into this particular machine. And so right there on the desktop of the PC, I can see this particular Excel file. I know for a fact that it's there. I could even go ahead and give them a little note. Perhaps I'll open up a notepad here and just say, hey, this file is present right on the desktop. You can see it right behind here. There we go. And so now, of course, I would want to go back into my particular ticket, which you can see right here. And I'd want to note that we've restored the file. Maybe I want to make that a private note, say we have restored the file right there. And then I might do a public response that directly addresses the customer saying, hey, we have restored this file to your particular machine here. So that's one example of a scenario where we have a request that was made. This request was made from the sys icon of the device, something that you can customize a variety of menu options for. And you can see on my screen right here, if I right click on my own sys icon, I get all these menu options. And the one that we saw utilized here was the help request form. So this is how the request was initially submitted, directly from the user's desktop on their machine. This went directly into Ninja Ticketing. It had the device associated with it, so we knew immediately what device we needed to restore the file to. And so this is just a great example of how you can have the agent deploy the sys tray. The sys tray can then funnel the ticket into Ninja Ticketing. And then from there, we have quick access to the device and its backups for easy, seamless restoration. Now, I think we've resolved that ticket, so let's go ahead and mark that as resolved. Oh, I saw a request here to see the sys tray icon one more time here from Ben. So in case anybody wants a closer look here, I know this is a little small. I don't think I can make it much bigger, but you can see all the various options that we have here. This could be quick links to a URL. It could be a pre-composed email through the default email client like Microsoft Outlook. It could be the help request form that we saw. It could even be the about dialog box that we see here. One thing I particularly like about this is that you can also insert environment variables into the about text that we see here. So it makes it very easy to identify the name of the device. So let's say somebody wasn't submitting through the sys tray, they were calling you up, and they call you up and they say, hey, I'm on the computer by the kitchen. And that doesn't mean anything to you. You don't know what that device is. By having the environment variable for the name of the device in this box right here, we would be able to easily communicate that, or our end users would be able to communicate it to those who are working on the help desk trying to identify the device. So we've resolved that ticket there. Great. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next ticket. All right, our next ticket here, we have a device that has not rebooted in 21 days, more than 21 days. And this is an alert that was generated by a condition inside of policies here. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the device. Of course, I'll take this ticket, assign this ticket to me. The priority is currently medium and moderate. That seems fine. We'll go ahead and save that right there. And note that the status is in open, indicating that the ball is in my court. A new ticket obviously is brand new. An open ticket means that the technician, need to be working on it, and then waiting would typically indicate that the end user needs to respond in some way for us to continue through the ticket process. So we'll leave it like this for now, and we'll go ahead and just click on the device itself. And so we can see the alert that's been detected by the condition down here at the bottom. And if we go up a little bit, we can see that the uptime here is 26 days. So this device has been on for quite some time. In my case, I have defined 3 weeks as being essentially the max uptime that my workstations are allowed. After 3 weeks, I want to create the alert so that I can then go ahead and resolve it. Now let's go ahead and back up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and go into our policy for this particular device. And right here, the policy, you can see this is the engine that makes Ninja go. Most of your day-to-day actions that you care about are going to be policy settings. On the left-hand side, you can see conditions, which would generate the alerts and tickets, automations that would run on a scheduled basis, Windows patching settings. When do we want to scan and update? What patches should be auto-approved? What patches require delayed approval? What patches should have a human being look at them before they actually get installed? The same would apply for our software patching, third-party software application patching, or for antivirus deployment. In this case, I am using SentinelOne in this particular environment. Let's jump back up to the conditions here, and let's go ahead and look at this particular condition here. We're looking for when the device has been online for more than 3 weeks, 21 days. It would be great if we could try to move the train along the tracks a little bit here by prompting the end user to reboot their own device at their convenience. That is going to reduce the overhead on our technicians with having to communicate with the end user to find when is a valid time to actually conduct this reboot. And so you can see here that we have automations that run whenever these conditions are triggered. The device hasn't rebooted in 21 days, we get an alert, we get a ticket. We can then run a script to try and resolve the issue, which in this case is going to be prompting the end user to reboot their own device. And the key third step here is when no longer met. When the device is rebooted, we'll go ahead and recognize that the device is no longer in excess of the 3-week uptime that we've set, and it will go ahead and reset that alert. And depending on how you configure your ticketing rule, this is an optional setting, but I am utilizing it. And it means that when we do have the device rebooted, that the machine is going or the ticket itself is going to be resolved. It's going to move into a resolved state automatically because we've had an automation that was able to take care of the issue without a human being, a technician, having to actually get involved here and reboot somebody's device. So what does this look like in practice? Let's go ahead and dive into this device as well. I'll close from my other remote access session, and we'll go ahead and open up this remote access session. You're not limited, I should point out, by having only one remote access session open at a time, but you may be limited if you're trying to do a live webinar with a lot of stuff running on your PC. So that is why I'm closing that. You can have multiple Ninja remote windows open without issue, as long as you're not trying to do a webinar live at the same time. So let's go ahead and log into this device right here. And right there, we can see that prompt. This is what the end user themselves is seeing. They're being bothered by this little prompt here to say, hey, you need to reboot your device. Now, this is customizable. You can actually use this exact same script, and instead of providing restart options, it could just be notifications. It could be telling somebody that patching is going to occur later today so that they should make sure that they leave their computer turned on but logged out before they leave. It could also be a response potentially to somebody who has low disk space. Obviously, there's a limit on what a technician can do to alleviate low disk space remotely. At a certain point, the end user has to delete stuff. And so prompting the end user to delete whenever they're low on disk space, this is something that I have found is far more effective than trying to recurringly delete temporary files or empty the recycle bin or try to clean up directories that hold space frequently. It's easier, quite simply, just to bother the end user to take care of it themselves, of course, if that's an option for you. And in this particular case, yes, I'm going to go ahead and restart. I am both technician and end user in this case. So let's go ahead and restart and get this device rebooted so that we can clear up that ticket. Now, in the interest of time here, I'm not going to sit here and kind of wait for the device to fully reboot, for Ninja to recognize that and then resolve the ticket. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. So our next ticket is something that I'm a huge fan of, which is it leverages a script from the template library. The template library is a wonderful resource from the engineers at Ninja who have created a lot of out-of-the-box scripts to help get you started quickly and to address common issues in IT. And this is a great example right here, which is we found that there is an unauthorized remote access tool in our fleet, and we want to go ahead and get rid of it. Now let's back up a little bit and talk about the template library and how we put this alert in place. So we'll go to the administration section on the left-hand side, then to the library section, and then into automation. We'll see the template library tab right there. This is pretty big, and I will say that we're always adding stuff to. Our engineers are working every day to create more scripts. You can see all this actual code in here as well, which makes it great for also learning if you're not a PowerShell expert like some of our engineers are. And this is something we're going to leverage pretty heavily today. You can see disabling PowerShell 2.0, disabling SMB v1, disabling weak TLS. We can see the display pop-up script right here. This is actually what we just saw that generates that customizable message in that reboot prompt. You'll see we have that same thing for the macOS operating systems as well. So this is a great way to interface with your end users. I particularly like this one right here, blocking the Windows 11 upgrade on Windows 10 machines. Definitely very handy and prevents Microsoft from inadvertently upgrading your machine, which seems to happen frequently these days. And then, of course, we could also go ahead and check for Windows 11 readiness. Is the machine ready for the upgrade to Windows 11 before we push it? However, in this particular case, we are leveraging a different script, which is the remote access tools report. This can write into a custom field if you'd prefer to store the server side, but it can also just generate the alert within Ninja. So if we click into this, you'll see all the code, all the documentation on how to leverage this particular script, what it's checking for, what applications it's checking for. You'll see down here. We can see things like AnyDesk, we can see ConnectWise Control, go to my PC, manage engine. So all the heavy hitters here will alert. Of course, Ninja Remote is not going to trigger this alert since that's our own in-house tool. So we'll go ahead and bring that into our environment. And then we'll go ahead and go back into our ticket here. Let's look at this particular device. And so right here, we're checking on this device using a script result condition. And essentially, this lets you convert any script into a potential alert. So anything that we can't alert on natively, if you can alert on it using Batch or PowerShell or Shell script, we can go ahead and create that alert. And so in this case, we're looking for the remote access tools. When we find an unauthorized remote access tool, we're going to go ahead and create an alert. You can see the result code here is equal to 1, indicating there's some sort of issue. Now, we could go ahead and run an automation in response to this, but it starts to get tricky, doesn't it? Because it could be any variety of remote access tools. And so it would be a little tricky to go ahead and ensure that we had a dedicated script running in response to detecting unauthorized remote access tools because we don't know which one it's going to be. And they might need to be uninstalled in different methods. So it seems like it's a smarter idea to actually have a human being take a look at this and actually have them address the issue directly. Now let's go ahead and do that. We'll close out here and we'll go back into our ticket. So we have a ticket here. It's in an open status. We need to respond. We as the technician need to respond. We can see the device over here on the left-hand side. I will go ahead and take this ticket. I will assign it to myself. I will upgrade the severity and the priority right here to high and critical. That seems certainly to be the case when I have a remote access tool in place that I didn't authorize and I don't expect to be there. Now, however, let's go right here. We can see that we've gotten a system notification, and it says it appears unauthorized remote access tools have been detected. Please visit the checklist menu for more information. Now, within Ninja, checklists are stored at the organization level. So we'll go ahead and go to the organization over here on the left, the Tyrone Mall 16 Cinemas. We'll go ahead and click in there, and we'll see that we have a documentation tab right there. This includes things like knowledge base and just general institutional knowledge we're storing in documentation, but it also includes checklists. So let's go ahead and look in here, and we can see that we have a checklist specifically for what happens when we detect unauthorized remote access tools. And so let's go ahead and click into this right here. And so I can see I have 3 steps. Let's go ahead and expand this to get a little bit more information about what I'm supposed to do. So we can see here, log. I need to log the name and the installation details of the remote access tool. Step 2, I need to reach out to the main point of contact. And then I need to use my response template for tier 2 escalation and manager notification. So I need to go ahead and let somebody know that this has occurred. So let's go ahead and log those details right now. We'll do a private note here. We'll say team viewer detected, and this was yesterday, or I should say earlier today. And we'll say it's 5/7, 10:51 a.m. We can go ahead and publish that as a private note. We could go ahead and leverage our response templates up here to escalate that. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do that manually. We'll go ahead and escalate that to Nick Bradshaw, who's going to be our escalating sysadmin in this particular case. We're going to go ahead and, again, set that severity and priority to a higher level there. We're going to go ahead and save that. Now, there was another step there that we had to take. Let's go back and take a look at what that checklist was. I need to notify the main point of contact. So let's go ahead and go back into that ticket. We'll create the point of contact right here, who is our contact person. We're going to go ahead and say, hello, contact person. An unauthorized remote access tool has been detected. And we can go ahead and publish that. So now we've notified them as well. And of course, we want to go ahead and change our corresponding status up here to also be in a waiting status. And so now we've done what we're supposed to do here. There isn't really any direct remediation required by us in this particular case, because I'm kind of, again, cosplaying as a low-level technician here. Now, let's say I am the person that this is being escalated to. I am the person who actually needs to go ahead and take action here to get rid of this tool. So what I would do in this particular case is go to the play button here, and I would run an automation. And in this particular case, I actually already have a script to remove TeamViewer handy and present in my script library. This is something that's also accessible in the dojo for anybody who needs it. Just search for remove TeamViewer and you'll be able to find this script. And so we'll go ahead and run that, and this is going to go ahead and remove TeamViewer from this particular device. And again, once we detect that TeamViewer has been removed, this ticket should automatically resolve. All right, let's go ahead and continue down our scenarios here. We'll go into our fourth scenario, which is that we have detected an inactive account. Now, this is, again, something where we leverage the script library, the template library. They have provided a script called inactive account alert. And what this does is it generates an alert whenever we've detected that there is an account that has not logged into that device in the previous 90 days. 90 days is the default. It is customizable, so you can have this alert based off whatever you would prefer. Now, in this case, we can go ahead and take the ticket. I would say that the medium and moderate priority and severity here seems perfectly appropriate for an inactive account. It's not necessarily a security risk, but it is housekeeping that we have to do to ensure that we have a good security posture. So we have assigned that ticket to myself. It is in an open status. It's something I have to deal with. I'll go ahead and save that here. Now you can see that I do have a system notification referred to the knowledge base article located here regarding proper procedures on handling. So let's go ahead and click that, and that'll open up a new tab here. And so right here, I'm in my knowledge base, my global knowledge base, and I'm looking at an article here that deals with inactive account remediation. What are the steps that I am supposed to take? So for any alerts detecting an inactive account, please use the documentation section to identify the main point of contact. Disabling accounts requires permission from the point of contact in writing within the ticket. So it's not something that we can just do. We have to actually get permission before we can take that action. Now, once the point of contact has responded affirmatively, we can use the disable local user script to disable the inactive account. And if the point of contact does not respond within 2 days, we should escalate to tier 1 support. Now let's go ahead and go through all these various steps here. So we'll go back into our ticket. Right there, inactive account. So this is located in the Brookhaven Cinebistro. So we'll go ahead and go there, and then we'll go into our documentation, and we'll look at our apps and services. Uh, we can see we're storing a few bits of information on Active Directory and IP schemes here. I want contact information. Here's our contact person right there. Peter Wayland, there's his phone number, there is his email address. So I need to get his permission before I can actually do anything with this particular issue. So we'll go ahead and go back into our ticket here. I need to make the requester Mr. Wayland, or just our contact person here. So we'll go ahead and apply that. And we'll go ahead and say, hello, an inactive account has been detected. Right there, we have the username right within in the ticket there. How would you like to handle? And then we can go ahead and publish that right there. And so he would receive the email. He would be able to go ahead and then say, actually, this person is a valid person who's just been on an extended leave. We need to go ahead and retain their access. Or they might say, in fact, this person hasn't worked here in months. I can't believe we forgot to actually disable that person and remove them from the Active Directory or from the local machine. And so they would respond. We'd know for sure whether that has been, if it's authorized or not, and then we can go ahead and take our action here. So let's say he responds affirmatively. We'll go to the run automation option from the play button. I could also do remote access sessions if I needed to directly get into the device, kick off AV scans, use remote tools potentially. This actually might be a good one to go ahead and do right from within the ticket. So I can open up a terminal session and then use the get local user commandlet to see who is currently present on the machine. And I can see that we have our administrator account and then M. Mullins right there. He is an enabled account who I might want to go ahead and disable if I get the permission from the end user. Now, let's say theoretically that permission has been received, I'm authorized, I'm good to go. We'll go ahead and go down here and copy that particular username like so. And then we'll go to our play button and we'll run an automation here. And this will be to disable a local user. And so all I need to do here is put in his username. Again, no coding required for any of this. All the scripts that I've utilized so far today, they are either template library scripts that come out of the box. And the nice thing about them is that they utilize these script variables that we see here, which makes it very easy to provide input to complicated scripts. Essentially, you can take a complex script and make it very simple to use because you have very clear data fields on what needs to be entered. And so in this case, I've entered my username. I will go ahead and run that. And so this will run on the device and it will disable the user. If I want to see the particular output here, I can go to the device and then in the activities feed, I can see that we succeeded. It worked. We disabled M. Mullins. And so what will happen is as this recurringly checks, it's going to go ahead and transition this ticket into a resolved status automatically because we're no longer going to have an inactive user who is not disabled on the device. That might take a minute or two, so I'm not going to waste time by just sitting here waiting for that to actually update. I did want to go ahead and talk a little bit about, oh, there we go. Didn't have to wait too long. And so we can see right there, the alert has been transitioned into a resolved status because we've taken care of the root cause of the issue. There's no longer any inactive accounts that are not disabled on the machine. We disabled the one account that we saw there, and we've already seen that this has been resolved automatically. I didn't even have to go and manually do that. So let's go ahead and change gears here a little bit. I've been talking about how great the Ninja product is. It's great. We're in here. Everything's super fast. We're using all the functionality of the various products. And so everything's nice and streamlined. Again, I will concede to reality here. The fact that you're going to have everything in one single portal is not necessarily feasible. You're probably always going to have other services, and you're going to need to expand the big tent, make the single pane of glass bigger, wider, open the window. Again, haven't settled on a metaphor here quite yet. And so this will allow us to bring in additional data. It'll improve our workflow, maybe not necessarily by being able to do everything that we could do in a separate portal, but by providing additional visibility, additional ticket creation ability, additional search ability from the devices menu that we see here. This could improve the reporting that we're doing as well. So essentially being able to bring data from external sources and bring that into Ninja. Now, a huge vector for us on this is going to be custom fields. Custom fields are something that I am a huge fan of. They are exactly what they sound like. They are customizable data fields. And there's a variety of different types here. Now, if we go in, we can see attachments, checkboxes. We can see email addresses, IP addresses. We could provide selection boxes. We can also just do generic text fields. And then my personal favorite, one that has gotten a big facelift here in the last 3 or 4 months, is the WYSIWYG fields. What you see is what you get. And this actually allows you to do HTML coding inside of Ninja. So you can actually use HTML and CSS classes to customize the formatting and make it look how you'd like to look. And this greatly improves the display of data within NinjaOne. Because you can do all of this via the API, it also means that external services can really build integrations into NinjaOne using these custom fields. And so let's actually go and take a look at what that would look like. So we scroll right here. This is actually a product of our SIP integration, the CyberDrain Improved Partner Portal. This is traditionally a tool that has been used by managed service providers to improve the multi-tenancy functionality for M365 products, but they actually just released an update that makes it so that you can use single tenants as well. And so while there may not be the same multi-tenancy benefit with SIP, I do think that the reporting and functionality is really good. And so there could be a benefit even if you just have your one M365 tenant that you're having to manage. But what's really great about it is that when you are using SIP, which can be either self-hosted or you can pay them to host it for you, it gives you all this additional information within Ninja about your Ninja tenant. Or I should say your M365 tenant within Ninja. And so here we can see unused licenses. Have we taken certain security actions like ensuring that we're using OAuth authentication, the password never expiring, how many licensed users do we have? And if we start to go down a little bit, we get even more information, device compliance, device operating systems, devices online in the last 30 days, security score that we can see right here. And again, this is providing quick links to external services. So it's not quite a single pane of glass. You're not getting all the functionality within Ninja, but you've got visibility on the information and then the ability to quickly get to where you want to go via a link here. Now you can see that we're also pulling individual user information. If I go to the documentation section, you'll see these documents that we can also create with through the API. Gives us all this information on our various users. So when I want to know about David McIntosh, I can click here. I get his Entra ID, his Intune user, his sign-in logs. I can see over on the right-hand side access to his licensing. And then if I scroll down a little bit further, I have all the individual user information that I care about. If we go to the licensing, we can see here who has an E5 license with mobility and security. Hey, it's all these guys right here. Now, this is built by SIP, and they're integrating into us via the API. However, you're not limited just by having another service create an integration with Ninja using our API. You can also do it yourself. So if we go into our custom fields here, you can actually see an example of something that has been built to actually improve the alert viewing within Ninja. And so this actually shows us all the current alerts that we have, the organization, the severity and the priority, the alerting here. And this is a great option to sort of expand what you can monitor through other services. This is just using Ninja's APIs to feed the information back in. But let's go ahead and go back to our first scenario where we were leveraging a NinjaOne Backup and we're trying to restore using NinjaOne Backup. Let's say you're not using NinjaOne Backup. Let's say you're using a completely different third-party service. Doesn't even matter what it is. But let's say you want improved visibility within NinjaOne about when you have issues with backups. We can leverage the custom fields to improve our alerting by writing statuses into those custom fields from the API. And we already have some vendors who are doing this. They're creating their own integrations by using the API to write statuses of backups into custom fields, which we can then monitor using the conditions inside of policies to generate alerts whenever, for example, a backup has failed. So let's go to the administration section. Let's go down to devices. Let's create a global custom field here. And so in this case, I might create a text field. And the text field we'll just say is backup status. We'll create that. We'll make this accessible via the API. We will make it read-only for our technicians because we don't want them to put in what the backup status is. The source of truth for how the backup status is operating should come from that third-party service. And we'll have this set at the device level because the backups are device level actions. And so we'll go ahead and create that there. We have our backup status. And so now what I can do is go into a particular machine. Let's say like this one right here. And so in my custom fields, I have a specific custom field monitoring for the backup status, which we can see right here. If I'm populating that via the API with a success status or a failed status, or even a date status showing when the last successful backup was, that is then all information that I have visibility on within Ninja, but it's also information that I can alert on. And so if we go into a policy condition here, I can go ahead and add a condition. This might monitor a custom field like so. It might monitor for our backup status. Oh, I didn't give it permission from the automations, which is why I'm not seeing it in here. Rookie mistake. There we go. And so I'll go actually back into my device level here and go into my policy overrides. And so now I will create a custom field condition that's monitoring for that backup status. Again, this is being populated via API, so you do need to have something that is recurringly checking the status of the backup in whatever service you're using and then writing that into a custom field. Some people have created their own integrations doing this, some vendors, I should say, where they just use the NinjaOne API to update, sort of create an integration in that manner. But this is also something that you can do with any API. If you're using Azure Functions or Azure Runbooks, if there's not a native integration there, you can easily pull information from third-party services and then retrieve that information and write it into Ninja's custom fields to improve your visibility. I think it's a great way to kind of expand the pane of glass of Ninja and just give you that ability to have more information inside of one portal. And so an example right here, we have our backup status. If our backup status contains failed right there, we want to go ahead and create an alert. And so we can say, let's go ahead and do a closed loop condition here. And so whenever that has happened, we're going to get a ticket created. We're going to have visibility on the active status. We can even have searchability and additional reporting capability within NinjaOne by bringing in that third-party information from another vendor. And again, this could be anything, any API that you can access, any local file that you can parse. We can go ahead and pull that information and write into Ninja custom fields for improved visibility. And so we'll go ahead and name this our external backup status monitoring right there. We'll go ahead and give this a critical and high severity and priority. If a backup has failed, that generally tends to be pretty serious. And so that is, again, just a way we can go ahead and expand the functionality of Ninja. I know we have a ton of questions, so I'm going to go ahead and start looking at some of those right now. Got a question from Matt. Can you feed third-party backups from Synology to Ninja with custom fields? And you wouldn't be able to do that because the custom fields do have a limit on size. I think the max attachment you can utilize is a 25 megabyte attachment. And there's only certain supported file types within the NinjaOne custom fields. So I'll say that probably is not going to be something that's very doable. But certainly if you were copying from a Synology to an actual device, you could go ahead, and when I buy actual device, I'll say at a Windows or Mac device, we would then be able to back up that way, but we could not back up directly from the Synology NAS itself. Question from James, will this be available online after this presentation? 100%. You will receive an email with the link to the YouTube recording, and it will also be posted on YouTube itself. So if you'd prefer just to kind of watch the page on YouTube, you can do that too. Question from Christopher, will there ever be a chance to add a one-time device in tickets that might not be in NinjaOne? It's not currently possible today, but I'll say never say never. Let's look at the chat real quick. I think I cleared out the Q&A. All right, I will go ahead and bring out Andrew. Andrew is our marketing coordinator, and he is going to tell us about our giveaway for today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew, and I'll be announcing the winner of today's webinar prize. This person will be able to choose between an Amazon gift card, a House of Marley record player, a Theragun, or an Apple Watch Series 9. And the winner of today's prize is Wilton Bryan. Let's go. Everyone drop a huge congratulations in the chat. Wilton, please keep an eye out in the following days for an email to claim your prize. But back to you, Jeff.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I did have a question that popped up, somebody wanting to know about the device alerts that I showcased for the WYSIWYG custom fields. I did post a link in my response to him, but I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the chat as well here. Some really good information there on using those WYSIWYG custom fields from Luke Whitelock, who is a product manager here at NinjaOne. So I just showed the alerts portion, but there's some ticketing stuff in there as well. And I think it would give you everyone a great idea of how you can kind of expand the information that Ninja is natively pulling and supplementing with, whatever external APIs or third-party source of information that you'd like to use. How to feed Dell warranty info into custom field. This is a question from Joanne. So yes, that is possible through a custom field and custom scripting. I believe CyberDrain, we mentioned the SIP portal. I think CyberDrain, Kelvin from CyberDrain, actually has a script that will parse the Dell API and then write the status back into Ninja custom fields. So I'll try to find a link for that real quick. Here, I'll go ahead and drop this in there. I'm not sure if this is the most recent link, but I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat for everybody. Question from Mitchell, will Ninja ticketing ever evolve into a PSA at some point? Yes, we have plans and are currently developing a PSA right now. NinjaOne ticketing obviously covers the ticketing component. The PSA component is more for billing. We are actively working on that currently. The new feature of warranty, will that come with scripting to update that? Yes, I believe we are working on API hooks so that you can update those fields, and the overall warranty feature is going to expand beyond just kind of the data fields that you see in there with 5.8 that just came out last week in America. Yeah, and follow-up question from Andy here. It's not a custom field, so it is going to be a sort of separate API endpoint to update that. So I don't necessarily know you'll be able to do it from a script on an endpoint, but you could do a data dump via the API to update that warranty field. I think that's currently being worked on, but right now it's just a manually set, just the initial implementation of it. But there's a lot more to come on the warranty front. Question from Jeff. I have to answer a fellow Jeff's question. Will you be having a webinar for CrowdStrike? Yes, we will. May 21st. Stay tuned. We will be doing a CrowdStrike webinar. There will be an email that is going to go out on that. Question from Travis, will projects become a more formal option within NinjaOne? We do have plans to expand that and create a tighter integration between the knowledge base and the checklist and ticketing. So yes, we do plan to kind of expand that and create something more along those lines. Question from Mike. I think maybe the last one we have time for right now. Are there any plans to integrate Bitdefender? Yes, we do. We have a Bitdefender Gravity Zone integration. I think that's in an open beta right now if it's not already GA. So Mike, if you want to reach out to your account manager or your account executive, depending on where you're at in the process, they can definitely get you set up with that. Okay, last question. Lied. Lonnie says, can you show a little bit more about Ninja Remote? Let me go ahead and do a quick screen share here with Ninja Remote. Just to showcase that a little bit better. So let's go ahead and go to, let's say, this device right here. There we go. Now at the top here, you'll see a variety of keystroke combinations. So Control-Alt-Delete, paste as keystrokes here, a variety of different keystroke combinations. We also have two-way clipboard sync. We have remote printing. So if I have a remote file and I want to print on my local printer that's right in my office, I can go ahead and print on the remote device, but the actual piece of paper is going to come out on the printer in my office. We also have file transfer, although of course you can do that within the actual portal without needing to initiate remote access. We can chat back and forth with the end user. We have our little settings option here to prevent technician or the user keyboard from being able to be interacted with. And then of course we can shut down or reboot into safe mode if we have a need to. Now in the top left, you'll see the monitors. You can cycle between those or display all of them if you have multiple monitors connected. And if you had multiple users logged in, you'd be able to choose which session you would prefer to shadow. You'll also see the branding over here. So this should say Jeff Hunter from a company. It could be just the company name like it currently is, or it could be just my current technician name. All right, and now I think I am at time. So hopefully, Lonnie, that was a good quick overview. If you have more questions, just let me know. And I'll also say that for anybody else, if you do have questions about anything that I've said today, if it sounded completely crazy, you want to tell me I'm wrong, or if you just want to talk more, have a couple questions to ask, please feel free to reach out, jeff.hunter@ninjaone.com. Always would love to keep the conversation going. Thank you everyone for being here today. It was a pleasure, and please take care and have a good rest of your day.